Okay, so what do we do if the logo is showing up too small on Journal? So when you've logged into Journal and you go to Settings and Design Lab, this is the place where you can upload your logo. You just click on the logo tab here. And as you can see, I've uploaded a logo file here and it's looking very, very small when I'm looking at the preview of what my slides are going to look like. Now, obviously that's not going to work. We want to make sure that we've got something a bit bigger. So how do you resize it? Well, there are a few options. Something to remember though is, and I'm just going to delete this logo out right now. Something to remember is that Journal likes to have a PNG file uploaded that's between, which is 500 pixels wide by 200 pixels tall, which means that it is an oblong and it's wider than it is tall. So what we're trying to do is create an image that fits as well as possible into those dimensions, and then we're going to have the most success with this. Now, if you have your logo, or if you have a designer, you can ask your designer to create a file in those dimensions for you, and that will be the best way to fill the space. But what you can also do is you can edit your design using something like Canva, so that you can make it fit a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into my Canva slide and show you the logo that I uploaded. So this is the logo that I was working with that appeared really small. So if I just go in there again and I'll upload that to show you what that looks like. So I'm just selecting the image from my files. And as I'm uploading the logo, it gives me a preview. So this whole outline is the space that we're trying to fill on the slide. So if that's empty and white as it is now, what's going to happen is that's going to appear as a big white space around the edge of the logo. And then your logo is going to look very small. So we need to try and fill this space. Now, what we can do is sort of crop around a shape, but really this is ideal if you're trying to crop something out, because it's still going to leave a big white space around the edge. All it's doing is it's moving the position of that logo into a different place within that rectangle. So the solution isn't really to resize here. All you're doing is just sort of shrinking it down and making it even smaller. So if you've got this problem where you've got a lot of white space around the edge, what I would suggest is that you delete the image and you start again, and then you go into a tool like Canva. Now I'm just going to go back into my Canva. So what I could do, for example, with this image, which you can see is in a square setup, and remember we're trying to make a 500 by 200, I could select all of that and I could drag it or resize it so that it is filling this would be the 200 pixels part of it. It's still not wide enough, but it's as tall as it could be. So I'll download that. Download that now. And then what I can do is go back into Journal and I can upload it and I can show you that that is going to look bigger. So this is the one that's filling the space. So if I click on Save Image, you can see now that it's much taller, which is much, much better. And if I decide that I want to reposition that, I could instead just delete that. I'll upload it again and we'll do that thing where we were cropping it to show where we want it to appear. So I could shift it along so it shows up on the right hand side, for example, and you can see that now it's moved over to the right hand side. So you can do that. But what I would suggest is not working with a square image at all. I would suggest using a 500 by 200. So if I go back into Canva, what I could do is make a rectangular version of my image. Now, obviously, we're working with something that fits well into a square. It's been designed that way. But if you've had your logo designed by somebody, it's possible that you have something, you have a sort of longer version of it or another version of it as well that you could be using. So here's my example here where I've got the logo and then I've got the word of the practice afterwards. What I'm going to do in Canva, and this is a premium function, but there are lots of tools online where you can resize files as well, is I'm just going to click on resize and I'm going to choose a custom size and I'm going to use pixels and I'm going to make the width 500 by 200 high, and then I'm going to copy and resize, and that's going to make me a new version of the file that fits within those dimensions. Now I've still got lots of white space around the edge, so this is going to be small. So I'm going to highlight the whole lot and I'm just going to drag it so that it fills this space as well as I possibly can. And you might want to work with your designer, or you might want to do something that works better for you, but I'm just going to fill this up so that I'm using all of the space that's available to me, so that I can really make the most of that nice big space that I've got on my slides, and that fills it much better. So I'm just going to download this now. I'm downloading it with a transparent background, by the way, so that I can just overlay this over the top. And then if I go into Journal, select my image, upload my 500 by 200, it fills that space nicely. I'm going to save the image. And now I've got that nice big logo on my slides. Now, just a little extra hack if you want to see it, if you want to stick with me. You have, as you'll know, you have various different versions of your slides, depending on what scenario you're using them in. And sometimes if you've got a coloured logo like I have, you might find that that coloured logo doesn't work so well on a particular type of slide. So for example, on this miscellaneous, maybe I would rather it showed up as black on this. So I can very quickly press the button so that I can recolor my logos as well, which makes it really versatile. So hopefully that's answered the question about resizing. You can make sure that you're using that space. 500 by 200 is the goal. If you can fill that space, it's going to be nice and big and bold on your social media posts.